Yo, these 5 key principles will solidify the long-term sustainable success of your business. Hey, it's Todd G here from the Growth Suite, where we teach business owners how to use modern marketing to get ahead of their competition and build an unbeatable brand. Let's get into it. In this video, we're going to go over the 5 core fundamental principles of modern marketing to help your business grow an unbeatable brand so that you're always ahead of your competition. The number one thing on the modern marketing fundamental principles list is customer centricity. Number 2 is value first. Number 3 is education based. Number 4 is having a humanized brand. And number 5 is to always have clear, direct response calls to action. We're going to get into each one of those principles in the next couple episodes, so make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss any of them in detail, where we'll give examples and frameworks for all of those principles. But for now, let's get into each one very quickly. The first one up is customer centricity. Customer centricity is about flipping the way you think and talk when it comes to your marketing and all of your communications, but not just that, also your products and the way that you develop your business. Customer centricity puts your customers and your target market and your ideal audience at the focal point of everything that you do. So when you start creating things, whether it's products or programs or marketing messages, whatever it is, you want to make sure you're thinking from your customer's perspective and their point of view. One of the best pieces of advice ever given in marketing and business is to join the conversation that's already going on in your customer's head. That way, you're not trying to grab their attention out of the way, but you're just jumping into what they're already thinking about. And you're going to be able to get their attention and hook them in and create conversations that resonate with them and create a deeper connection so that they're interested, they know, like, and trust you, and they have a stronger preference to buy from you when it's time to make that purchasing decision. So customer centricity is about flipping everything you do and think from being self-centered and egotistical around who you are, what you do, and what your product is, just talking about your features or how amazing the services you offer are and all that kind of thing. If you look at your website and your content that's on social, if everything's me, us, the company name, if that's all you're talking about, no one really cares. Everyone wants to know what's in it for me, whether that's consciously or subconsciously. So you need to flip all of your language and approach so that you're creating content from the standpoint of, what does my ideal customer currently need? What are they thinking about? What scenarios do they find themselves in? And start speaking to those different things. And you need to flip the actual words that you use so that it's not just me, I, company name, company product features, but flipping that so it's you, us, we, and you're talking to someone. And that'll get into one of the future principles that we mentioned, which is conversational and humanizing your brand. We'll get deeper into that. But you want to flip not just your language, but also your thinking and your approach to business, product, program, and marketing communications so that you're putting your customers at the focal point. You're being customer centric with your business. And that's the first and most important principle of modern marketing. Modern marketing principle number 2 is value first. Think about it like this. You can't withdraw from an empty relationship the same way you can't withdraw from an empty bank account. So the way that you approach your communication and marketing with your ideal audience and your target market needs to be by coming with a value first approach, so that not only are you being helpful to them, but you're also demonstrating your expertise and you're helping them understand their current situation, their problems, and all that stuff better than they already do. And by showing them that, you're adding value into the relationship, and they're getting to know, like, and trust you, which will lead us into the next modern marketing principle. Modern marketing principle number 3 is education-based. This is about taking a helpful approach to your customers. The exact stat goes up and down depending on where you look and over time, but it's like 80% of a buyer's journey these days happens without a salesperson. It's people doing their own research online, asking people in person or looking things up, who they follow on social media, all that kind of stuff. And so you need to take this education-based approach by putting out helpful content for people. That's the stuff that they're going to find because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for help and guidance from someone in order to make a buying decision or just help them with a problem that they have, which is ultimately what your products and services do. They help solve a problem for someone. So by showing up with an education-based approach, you can create a relationship. You can put more value and equity into the relationship, like we talked about in the last principle, the principle of value first, right? Because when you're taking the approach of just blasting out messages of me, which we don't want to do, right? Customer centric. And another thing is, if you're just out here broadcasting about how good your products are or special deals you have going, if all you're doing is trying to sell and be transactional, that comes across very clear to people today. And their radar goes up and they shut down. They don't want to hear about it. A great analogy is from Dean Jackson, a legendary marketer. Check out the I Love Marketing podcast if you want to dive deep. But he talks about cheese and whiskers. And when a mouse sees cheese, it runs towards it because it wants cheese. It needs a resource to live. It's hungry, whatever. It's going after something that it wants. But when it sees whiskers, it automatically shuts down and runs in the opposite direction. And these days, when people see a message that looks like it's trying to sell something to them, that's whiskers. And they run in the opposite direction. So if you come at your market with whiskers, they're going to shut down before you even get a chance to create an opportunity, let alone create a relationship. So you need to be education-based so that you can attract people in, develop that relationship, get them to know, like, and trust you. You can help guide them on their journey. You're putting equity into the relationship because, like we said, you can't draw from an empty bank account. So education-based content, education-based marketing is how you're going to get found. It's how you're going to develop relationships. It's how you get your audience to know, like, and trust you. It's how you create long-term top-of-mindedness, and it's how you ultimately carve out your market share and develop an unbeatable brand. Modern marketing principle number 4 is humanizing your brand. People like to do business with other people, right? People have relationships with other people. By humanizing your brand, you make it infinitely easier for your market to develop an actual relationship with your brand. And what's going to win in business in 2023 and in the future is relationships and your reputation. One of the quotes I love from one of my virtual mentors, Anthony Iannarino, what he says is, when all things are equal, relationships win. All things unequal, relationships still win. And that has always held true and will always hold true. So you want to be able to create a real relationship, an authentic relationship with your market and your business. And that's when you humanize your brand. A couple ways to do that we'll talk about in the Humanizing Your Brand video. So make sure you're subscribed and you don't miss that episode that's coming up. But what you want to do is really put a face and a name, whether it's you as the founder, it's your team. You want to be able to create a real connection between your brand and your audience. Modern marketing principle number 5, and the last one we'll go through before we get into the bonus concepts, is the modern marketing principle of direct response calls to action. Now, traditionally, people will think of direct response as trying to sell something in your messaging, but that's not really what it is. Direct response is just when you are speaking with someone, giving them a very clear next step that's aligned and congruent with what you're talking about. And so whenever in today's world you can get someone's attention, you want to make sure you give them a clear next step for them to take, rather than just letting the conversation fizzle away, whether that's a real one-on-one conversation or a video conversation like this, or a social media post or an email, or wherever you're communicating with your target market. You want to give them a clear next step and direct call to action. So to make sure you get all the stuff from this video and all these principles in a deeper dive in the future episodes, make sure you go to thegrowthsuite.com/subscribe so that you don't miss another episode. And we also throw out a ton of freebies and strategies for you guys when you're a subscriber. So make sure you go to thegrowthsuite.com/subscribe and get subscribed today. That's a clear, direct call to action, right? It's congruent with what we've been talking about today, and it tells you exactly what you can do if you want more. Now, let's get into the bonus concepts. Bonus concept number 1 for your modern marketing strategy so that you can build an unbeatable brand and always be ahead of your competition is the customer journey. Understanding the customer journey is huge. We're going to have a whole series on this, so make sure you're subscribed at thegrowthsuite.com/subscribe so you don't miss it. There's a whole bunch of different things to understand and nuances, but the bottom line is understanding, again, back to customer centricity, understanding where it is that your target market is thinking, acting, what their scenarios are. If they are already know you, like you, and trust you, you're going to communicate one way, as opposed to if you're communicating with a complete stranger. If someone is problem aware, you're going to talk to them about problems. If they're solution aware, you can talk to them about solutions. But if people have no idea what solutions are available and you start talking to them about solutions, they're going to be clueless. You need to connect with them when talking about their problem. For example, if someone has a massive headache and it's because they're dehydrated, but they don't know they're dehydrated, and you go up to them and they say, I have a huge headache, and you say, have this glass of water. They're going to say, I don't need a glass of water, I have a headache. So you need to say, hey, you have a headache? Well, research shows that a lot of headaches come from being dehydrated. If that's potentially the issue, have this glass of water. So you connected with them on the problem and then educated them into the solution of being hydrated. So understanding all these different nuances of where your audience is at, what they're thinking, what your relationship with them is going to make a huge difference in the impact that the conversations you have will have on your business. So customer journey is a key component to modern marketing that you need to make sure you have in your business. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the series and trainings that we do all around customer journey. Let's get into concept number 2. Concept number 2 that we want to talk about today is rapid testing and validation before you scale. In today's world, the tools are so awesome, and of course we're going to have a series on tools as well for modern marketing for small businesses and startups, so make sure you're subscribed. Don't want to miss that. I'm overkilling subscription today, obviously, but there's so much to go into these, and I don't want you guys to miss them, and I know you don't want to miss them either, because you're here watching this video at this point because you want to grow your business, you want an unbeatable brand, and you want to be ahead of your competition. So that's what we're here to serve you with. But now that you understand all these things, we're going to talk about rapid testing and validation. With social media, with the affordability of online advertising to reach thousands of people very quickly, you can validate your ideas and your messages and your products and all different types of things for a very low cost. So being able to put out things very quickly, put out videos very cheaply and quickly, advertising quickly and affordably, like all of these things in today's world make it the best time ever to be growing your small business and using these different tools and techniques to get feedback for very low cost in a matter of days, sometimes hours, before you invest in tens of thousands of dollars into a new idea or a new product or a new campaign. You can invest hundreds of dollars and a day or two to test out if that idea is going to be able to get legs and have some traction. What people used to pay tens of thousands of dollars for focus groups for, you can do for a few $100s and a social media post. So rapid testing and validation before you invest big time in scaling. All right. Quick recap. Number 1 is customer centricity. Number 2 is value first. Number 3 is education based. Number 4 is humanizing your brand. Number 5 is having a direct response call to action. And the 2 bonus concepts we talked about were customer journey and rapid testing and validation. So if you want to dive deeper into these modern marketing principles, make sure you're subscribed at thegrowthsuite.com/subscribe, because we're going to put out a full series on each one of these things, plus trainings on customer journey and rapid testing and validation, so that you can get ahead of your competition and build an unbeatable brand.